Robert Glasgow is standing by. Robert is an international trade lawyer. He's based in Toronto. Robert, thanks for taking the time today.
Happy to be here, Todd.
All right, we're reading the tea leaves, trying to figure out what it all means. We saw that meeting on Tuesday, another meeting going on today. What are your thoughts?
I think this is exactly what Mark Carney was looking for when he made the announcement to roll back the tariffs, kind of match the U.S. at that CUSMA exemption. I think that this is probably the best outcome we can hope for, at least in the short term. I think maintaining that CUSMA exemption, maintaining our discussions is always beneficial. And I think that that's probably the unwavering focus of the Carney administration. And frankly, it does leave Canada in a very beneficial position to continue having that exemption while we negotiate the sectoral areas like steel, aluminum, and autos.
So, Robert, you think the strategy is working because, as you can appreciate, it's sometimes hard to figure out, make heads or tails of whether this is moving the ball down the field, so to speak, or not.
I totally get that. I get it, especially from a layperson's perspective. I mean, even as an expert in trade, it's somewhat opaque, and it's opaque by design. And I usually take a policy of not judging negotiations until they're done, precisely because they are largely carried out behind closed doors. I go back to constantly the original CUSMA negotiations, where there were great concerns that Canada might be left out or that there might have to settle bilaterally because the U.S. administration is making noises about Canada being nasty and unfair, and that it might proceed with only Mexico. And instead, we got shortly after that a trilateral CUSMA agreement. So I try to give our negotiating team, which is very good, both the ministers involved, but also the professional civil servants at Foreign Affairs. They're an excellent team, and I tend to give them a lot of leeway on this.
Any sense of what the timeline may look like? I know that's a tricky question.
It is incredibly tricky to grapple with. I think we're likely to see Canada, as long as that CUSMA exemption remains in place, Canada's focus is going to be on the sectoral sanctions, and that's going to take probably a lot of lift. The U.S. administration is very, very influenced by the steel industry. So getting them to move on steel, even to a quota system where a certain amount of steel can come in tariff-free, is going to be tricky. I think Canada may prioritize taking some quick wins. And one of those areas might be aluminum. And that's simply because aluminum is really expensive to make in the U.S. because of energy prices. And the Quebec aluminum industry is actually very well positioned and is a huge supplier of the U.S. market. And aluminum's necessary for consumer products such as drinks, appliances, but especially vehicles, and including aluminum's a major cost of input for the Ford F-150 and for other major U.S. trucks.
Robert Glasgow joining us. He is an international trade lawyer, an international trade expert. He is in Toronto today. Robert, thanks for this. We'll talk again.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a great day.